We are a few minutes late, 5 to be exact, but we are here. River and Reed have allowed us. They are in their bed. They are sleeping. Thank God. And so, Renee, you said I could see if I'm live here, but I can't. Are you sure? Are we live?
Join.
It says that I'm live, and so I'm trying to see it here, so that you and I can interact. So I'll be able to see it through here. Still no. Let's see. I'm not very tech savvy, so Renee's gonna figure it out. But if you are here, use this time as we get there situated on Facebook, YouTube, as Renee figures out my live situation. Use this time to share with your family and friends. You don't want to miss it. And look, I am extra excited about this one because Renee doesn't really have a choice. He kind of has to sit here through this whole thing. And this live is what I wish my husband knew. And so, boys, this is your opportunity. You know, have you ever said, oh, my wife, I don't understand what's going on in her head. She's an enigma. She's like a maze. It's a labyrinth. I can't figure this woman out. Well, you're welcome, boys. Tonight is the night where I'm going to let you into the mind, to the brain, and the heart of the woman so that you can understand her. And by understanding her, you can better love her. And so my husband is here. There are 10 tips that I want to share. Again, this is not an exhaustless list, okay? There is much, much more to share. I had a hard time condensing it to 10, but I feel like if you apply these 10, if you understand these 10 well, that you will sort of set yourself up for success. How about that? And then, boys, if you feel like, Amanda, I want a little bit more, we can think about doing a part 2 here. Give me your feedback. And wives, of course, if you're joining, you let me know, Amanda, this was good, but you forgot about this point or that point, or maybe you're going to say, wow, Amanda, you nailed it, right? We are on the same page. And so welcome those that are coming in. It is good to have you here. I'm excited about this one. I see you here on the Instagram, those coming in, hello. So share, because we are going to get started in just a little bit here. What I wish my husband knew. So go, tell your husband, I don't know, bribe him with something, bribe him with your body, I don't know, do something to get your husband situated, sitting next to you so that he can watch this one with you. And then maybe if he can't watch it, if you're home alone, I don't know, it's 8 o'clock, but if you're home, it's 8 o'clock here, I don't know where you live, but if you're home alone, then you're going to save it. I'm going to save it to the IGTV and say, hey, honey, do you think you can watch this for me? And then we'll talk about it later. And then you do whatever it takes to make him watch this live because it's an important one. All right, I think we're going to get started here. Again, if you have any questions, say hello, ask questions in the comments, DM me later, whatever you feel comfortable with, because I want to make sure that you are getting what you came here to receive. Together, this community, the abundant marriage community, are those who are unsatisfied with mediocre marriages. Listen, we have one life to live, and I want to also have one marriage, and so I am willing to do whatever it takes that Renee and I, that our love would grow. Not that it would, do away with, but that it would grow more and more and more every single day. And so, here we go. Let's get started. All right, so what I wish my husband knew. The first one is I wish my husband knew that I want to be involved. What does it mean I want to be involved? A lot of wives will come and tell me, they say, Amanda, I don't know why my husband has to hide things from me. Like he wants to protect me, but in reality, I want to know him. I want to help him. I want to see into his innermost being. I want him to communicate with me. I don't want to feel like I'm being left out. I want my husband to come and ask my opinions. I want to be involved in the big decisions of his life. Husbands, your wife wants to know that you value her input, that you value her ideas. I was just recently talking to a wife, and she said, Amanda, my husband opened an entire new business, and I only went to find out after it was already open. Can you imagine that the husband something that he did overnight, okay? That he spends months preparing and planning and hiring and getting a name. And he spends months doing this, and she only found out after the business was already established, after the business was already running. That's craziness. Husbands, what your wife wants you to know right now is that she wants to be involved in the decisions that you're making, the small, the medium, and the large decisions. Please, do not make major life decisions without running it by your wife. Husbands, you are completely different than your wives. Both of you have different personalities, interests, preference, etc., etc. This is why it's so important that you come together to make plans. I can assure you that when two heads are thinking together, it's going to be much better. The Bible itself says that there is wisdom in numbers. Take counsel with your wife. Share your thoughts. Share your feelings. Plan your future together. Show her that you need her, that you value her idea, and that you value her input. Wives, if I nailed that one, give me a thumbs up. Do you want to be involved? I know I do. And so this is something that Renee does particularly well. Renee will not buy anything without first running it by me. And again, it's not because he's a child. It's not because he's 10 years old. It's not because I'm his mommy and I'm going to say, no, you can't buy it. You have to save it. No. He comes to talk to me because he values my opinion. Because he says, hey, what do you think? And sometimes I'll comment on the color, right? He'll say, I'm thinking about buying this ATV. What do you think? His latest is, hey, I think for the summertime, I think buying some jet skis would be fun. What do you think? He doesn't show up with 2 jet skis. He says, what do you think? You think the boys would enjoy it? You think we could do family trips with a jet ski? You think it'd be something fun? And then together we're here dreaming and thinking, oh man, can you imagine the look on River and Reed's face if we come home with a jet ski? They'd be so excited. And so husbands, what your husband wishes you knew is that she wants to be involved in all the areas of your life. Do not be afraid to let her in, because maybe, just maybe, she will give you great, good advice. All right, that's the first one. The second one is this. Husbands, your wife wants you to know that she doesn't need you to fix her problems. We talked about this before, and I keep talking about it over and over again because husbands, you keep doing it. You are Bob the Builder. You have this thing where you want to fix things, but your wife doesn't want you to fix her problems. She wants you to understand, and she wants you to empathize with her. This is what this live is all about, right? This is me allowing you inside the brain of a woman, and I'm telling you right now, fixing her problem is not what she needs. Some problems are unfixable. But what she needs is your empathy. She needs your understanding. She needs to know that you know that she's feeling frustrated or angry or upset, that she doesn't feel like she's a good enough mother, that she feels like a failure as a wife. She needs you to understand her, not to fix her. And so husbands, the best way to do this, be curious. Start to say, hey honey, tell me a little bit more, or man, I have no idea what you're talking about. Could you explain it in a different way? If you don't know how she's feeling, ask her, well, how does that make you feel? And what would you like me to do? How could I help you? Ask her to tell you how she would want this issue resolved. And then please, husbands, don't do this. Don't minimize her problems by making your problems greater. Let me give you an example. I'm counseling this young girl. She's in her teenage years. And her mother had a very hard upbringing. Her mother's parents passed away at an early age, and man, when she was a teenager, she had to basically take care of her 3 siblings. Just a teenager, taking care of her siblings, having to upkeep the house, having to go to school. I mean, it was rough. Well, her daughter's teenage years are clearly not as, rough, tough as was her mom's. She has her own struggles. She has the things that she's dealing with, but her frustration is that every time she comes to her mom to say, hey mom, I'm having a hard time at school, or I'm upset that my friend this, or my boyfriend this, the mom will be like, well, when I was growing up, I had to take care of my 3 siblings because my mother and father passed away. And so here comes her daughter with an issue, with a problem, that she doesn't want it fixed. She just wants someone to empathize. However, her mother always minimizes her problems by maximizing her own problems. And now I get it. I talked to their mother. The mother loves her daughter. The mother uses it to sort of show her daughter perspective, like, hey, honey, things are going rough in your life right now, but think about how hard it was for mom when she was growing up. Think about all the pressures that I have that you don't have. The mother was trying to help the daughter, but really what it was doing, it was pulling them apart. And so husbands, don't try to fix your wife's problems. Try to understand it. Don't try to minimize it by maximizing yours. No, be curious. Okay, that's the second one. Here's the third one. What I wish my husband knew is that I want him to protect me. Now, we're going to spend a little bit of time on this one because protection will look different depending on your wife. Husbands, God created you to do two things, to provide and to protect. You do this naturally. And so for some wives, again, you're going to take this information that I'm giving to you, and I can assure you that how I want Renee to protect me might be very different than how your wife wants you to protect her. So all of these will take a little more conversations, clarification, because again, human beings, although we're a lot alike, we're also very different. And so these things need to be tailor-made to fit your wife, okay? And so when I say, husbands, your wife wants you to protect her, and maybe your marriage, it will look like defending her in front of others, not criticizing her in front of others. Being empathetic when she is sick. I had a wife share with me, Amanda, I have such a hard time. I'm in so much pain when I'm on my period. And my husband just, stop making a big deal. You're making a storm out of nothing. I had another wife saying, Amanda, I worked so hard all day long and I was in so much pain, and I asked my husband, do you think you could give me a massage? And he says, I worked all day long too. I mean, get over it. Here, have someone else give you a massage. Husbands, your wife wants you to protect her. And so find out the things that makes her insecure. Find out, discover what are the fears of her life. Ask her if there is anyone particular that she is jealous about, and be trustworthy. Now let me clarify. Usually when I say husbands, protect your wives, you guys think that this is like some Hollywood movie where someone is going to abduct your wife and you show up in your white horse and you're going to snatch her, you're going to punch him, you're going to kill him, and then you're going to ride away in the sunset. Okay, Hollywood is over. This is real life. How often are these things happening? Probably not too often. In fact, let me tell you something. Usually we get in a whole lot of trouble when we try to protect wives with biceps. Is there a moment in time for that? Yeah, sure. Maybe one day you'll be in a particularly dangerous situation where truly you're going to have to protect your wife with your bicep. But really, she's after you protecting her heart, her feelings, her emotions, her insecurities, her sensitivities. Do you get what I'm saying, boys? So look, let me give it to you in this way. My uncle, this was actually the way in which he lost his life. This is what happens. Now look, I don't know the full detail of the story, okay? But this was what was passed on to me. What was passed on to me is that my uncle's wife, so I guess would she be my aunt? I don't know what she'd be considered. My uncle's wife, she went to the bakery, and there she was hit on by another man. She comes home and tells my uncle, hey, someone hit on me on the bakery. Well, my uncle, being sort of the macho, I'm going to protect my wife and what is mine, sort of, let me deal this with my biceps. He meets the guy, and he says, we're going to solve this like men. And he says, but we're going to solve it with our fist, you and me. And so they were both carrying weapons, and my uncle says, listen, put your weapon on the floor, I'm going to put mine on the floor, and we're going to handle this man to man, fist to fist. And the guy says, okay. And so they're sort of hiding behind a pillar, a tree, I don't know, this was years ago, I wasn't there, okay? And so here's the scene. So my uncle says, look, I'm taking my weapon out, I'm putting my weapon on the floor, The other guy, okay, my weapon is here. As soon as my uncle and this man who was hitting on his wife start to approach each other, the other man, bastard, had a second weapon. He takes it out, he fires, and ultimately my uncle loses his life. So I'm not talking about protection like that, boys. We need to have wisdom about how we go about these things. Your wife doesn't need you to lose your life trying to protect her. And often, it is so rare where it's the case where you're going to have to go fight someone and beat someone up. You need to protect her dreams. You need to protect her hope. You need to protect her heart. You need to protect her insecurity. This is the type of protection that I'm talking about, and there's more. Oftentimes, if your wife has experienced some type of abuse in her life, okay, and again, we can't generalize these things. I'm giving you another alternative, another option. This was a case that happened with one of the couples in abundant marriage. Wife had experienced abuse in the past. And so she wanted very much to be a self-sufficient, independent woman. She had this thing where I don't need my husband to defend me. Why? Because there was a part in her life where she was so vulnerable. In fact, she wanted to take on MMA or jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, some type of fighting because she wanted to feel empowered like she could defend herself. And so whenever she would get catcalled and her husband would try to go and figure it out, she would get angry. And he'd be like, what in the world? I thought you wanted me to protect you. If I don't say something, you're going to get angry. Now I protected you and you got angry. Well, in this particular case, the wife needed to heal her heart because she wanted to be empowered. And whenever her husband went and defended her, she felt, I could defend myself. Why? Because when she was a little girl, she couldn't stand up and defend herself. Well, now as an adult, she wanted to take matters into her own hand. Do you see why it's important that we have a conversation about this? Here's another example. As you can tell, I'm sort of very good with my words. And so I remember, I don't know if Renan is watching, Renee's brother. Oh man, Renee.
Clever said Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is awesome.
Oh yeah, see, there's Clever. Pastor Clever, I don't want you to whip out all the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu every time someone catcalls your wife. And he has a very good-looking wife. I'm sure it happens often, but this is not the time for that. Right? Men, I know you guys want to go there and wrestle and jiu-jitsu and hit someone and karate chop someone, right? Usually that is not the case. There are more ways to protect your wife, and usually this is what she's after, okay? So put the biceps away. And so anyways, look, growing up, Renan, which is Renee's brother, as brothers do, right? They pick on each other, they mess with each other, they fight with each other, and I was just like the defender of Renee, okay? I would not let Renan pick on him. And anytime Renan was picking on Renee, who tends to be the more soft-spoken, really is running away from arguments, isn't trying to cause any waves, and I would go in there and I'd try to defend him and this and that. Well, obviously, if Renee wasn't even defending himself, what makes me think that he's going to defend me? And growing up when we were little, remember, Renee and I dated straight out of the womb, right? We dated for 7 years. We've been married for 8. So we've been together for literally forever. And so when we were growing up, I'd be like, Renee, I defend you all the time, and you don't defend me. You just stay quiet. We also need to understand the differences in personality. Renee will never say anything in the moment, on the spot. Renee is not going to go and defend my name and defend my honor, defend my cause. He never has, and he never will. Do it right there in the moment. He is the sort of listens and then takes it in his prayer time with God. I don't know where he takes it. He takes it somewhere very, very far away, and it takes a very, very long time. And then he goes and he handles it in his way. But it's amazing how he handles it, because look at what the Bible says in Proverbs 16:32. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes on a city. This is what I'm saying, boys. For you to protect your wife, I'm not talking about a warrior. Have self-control, have wisdom and discernment. So many husbands have died trying to defend their wives' honor when really they're selfishly defending their pride and their arrogance. If you're joining us right now, we are talking about what I wish my husband knew. I came up with 10, even though there are many more. 10 things right now. If your husband is sitting next to you, kudos to you, boy. And if he's not, I don't know, go offer him I don't know, sexy time tonight. I don't know what you have to do to make sure he's here. I'm happy my husband is right here. He doesn't have a choice. He's filming the whole thing. He is sitting right here. Renee, open your ears because these are 10 things that I need you to know. All right? So we've already done the first 3. We're moving on here. We're going to number 4. I wish, Amanda, my husband knew that I want him to be interested in the things that are important to me. And this is where Renee gets in trouble. I shared with you guys, that, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Renee almost lost his life. And the reason is because I was about to kill him, and you're about to find out why. And so what I want my husband to know is that I want him to be interested in the things that are important to me. So here we go. Husbands, oftentimes, you will have to let your wife buy things that you deem unnecessary. As a husband told me, Amanda, flowers are completely pointless to me. Well, what do you mean? And listen, I get where the husband is coming from. I don't particularly love flowers. I just don't like that they die. I have a weird thing with flowers. However, a lot of wives love flowers. And for them, it's a way to make their house pretty. I can get behind that. And so the husband's like, I don't get it. She wants to buy flowers. It's just a waste of money. It's just going to die. And I said, listen, dude, I get it. However, if it's important to her it's like she's making your home beautiful. She's welcoming the guests. She wants the house to look nice and to look, let her buy the flowers. If it's important to her, you need to make it important to you. Take time, husbands, to notice the little things that she does for you and for your family. When Renee and I, when we go on trips, this is something that I grew up with, okay? So growing up, well, we weren't a wealthy family. We didn't have all this money at our disposal. And so my mom did something that I always loved. Whenever we would go on family trips, it was our time. She would say, we're going to go to the mall and you guys can pick out a few outfits. And so we're going to go on trips, we're going to take family photos, and we're going to look good as a family. And my brother and I, we would love that. Him more so than me. My brother, he is just dressed to the nines, okay? And so we would be so excited because we'd get new shoes or a new shirt. We would love it. And so for whatever reason, that's something that's, I don't know, been engraved in my mind. So I'm not one to buy clothes and to shop all year long. I don't even have time for it with River and Reed. And who in the world wants to go to the mall with twin boys? No one in their right minds want to go anywhere with twin boys, much less the mall. And so whenever we have a trip coming up, this is usually when I buy things. I want to buy nice things. I want to buy nice clothes for Renee. And Renee, Renee's like, oh, I don't even need this. But he's learned to appreciate it and learned to say, hey, thank you so much for worrying about what I look like. And I'll have River and Reed in their matching clothes, and I'll almost like have us match in the same palette, right? Kind of silly, but I don't know. It's something that is important to me. That when we go on a family trip, when we go on a family vacation, I buy everyone something special, right? And I'll find something that Renee likes. If you particularly wanted a hat or something nice to say, hey, I thought about you. I don't know, okay? And so husbands, if it's important to her, you need to make it important to you. Maybe your wife is reading a book and she says, hey, honey, could you read this book? Or maybe it's a movie, or maybe it's a show that she's watched. Be interested in the things that your wife is interested in. We need to learn to serve and to sacrifice. Of course, you're not going to find interesting all of the things that she finds interesting, but I can tell you right now, as a therapist, I have clients who are interested in a bunch of things that I'm not interested in. I have particular young clients who are very interested in this anime stuff, okay? Do not understand it, don't get it, don't even like it. I don't care about anime, okay? But when I ask them about it, because they're so interested and I'm trying to cultivate a relationship with them, and so I say, well, tell me a little bit more. And I'll have clients, Amanda, look at this drawing, and Amanda, look at this, and they're so excited, and what happens? As they share with me, as they understand that I'm interested in their lives, I'm not interested in just trying to fix them, but in trying to understand their inner world, guess what? They start to open up. They start to talk. We start to build our relationship. Husbands, you need to show interest in the things that your wife knows or believes is important to her. Take the time to see how she spends her day. Help her pursue her goals and her passions. Oh man, husbands, do that. If your wife is passionate about cooking and wants to start, support her. If she is passionate about going back to school, support her. If she wants to be I don't know, a gym instructor, a Pilates. I saw Pilates because Delphina. Delphina, I don't know if you're still here. But help your wife pursue the things that she is passionate about. Get behind her. Help her start that business. Encourage her. If it's important to her, you need to make it important to you. And now this is where Renee gets in trouble. Okay, so look, he's already rolling his eyes at me. Remember, what is important to your wife might not necessarily be important to you. So we need to make sure that we are understanding the inner worlds of our spouse. If you're joining us, we are here wrestling with what I wish my husband knew. And we are on number 4. I want my husband to be interested in the things that I'm interested in. My dreams, my goals, my passions. And I don't want him to belittle me. I don't want him to ignore. I want him to get behind it. And I want him to help me in any way that he can. And so this is what happens. This is a story. So I have a weird thing with pens and books, okay? I love myself a good pen. I don't like to type or text anything. I like to write it out. And the other thing that I'm particularly obsessed with is books. I have so many books, it drives Renee crazy, right? And I'm the type to read like 3 or 5 books at the same time. He doesn't get it. But to me, it helps me better remember because they all somehow, in its own weird way, they connect, and then it helps me better remember them. Well, there's an author that I particularly love. Her name is Ellen White. And there are 5 books that she wrote, which is like a commentary from Genesis all the way to Revelation. So it covers the entire book of the Bible. And I have so many different copies of it, but recently this company, I can't even remember the name of the company, this company created just, I kid you not, it's just the most beautiful collection of these 5 copies. Okay? It's like drop dead gorgeous. And this company, they're just young people who wanted just to create something beautiful. They're artistic. And I think they sent it off to like a factory in Germany. I don't really know. They sent it off to a factory in Germany, and it was obviously it was going to be a very pricey collection, but not even. I don't even think they valued it at what it should have cost. So much so that they probably were just going to break even. So they got it well made. They just wanted to make something beautiful, and it was beautiful indeed. When I saw that, I thought, I have to have the copy of this book. And so, what do? Well, wives, I understand if you missed the live that we did 2 weeks ago about the myths of marriage. One of the myths with your husband, my husband reads my mind. No, he doesn't. Your husband does not read your mind. Renee, especially with his rational mind, I don't beat around the bush with Renee. I don't assume that he understood me. No. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And so I literally sent Renee the link and I said, hey, I want these books. That's what I said. And he says, oh, they're really pretty, da-da-da-da. Okay, sent it the first time. And I'm waiting, like, any moment now, I'm going to open the door of my room, and these books are going to be, like, laying on my bed with, like, a bow on it. Okay? A few weeks go by. Show us the books, please. Now I'm curious. Oh, the stories. This is why Renee almost died, Bruna. Stay with me. He literally almost lost his life over this book. Look at what happened. This is not a happy ending to this story, okay? I'm still bitter about it. And so I'm just waiting, like any moment now, right? This book is going to appear. Well, 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by. I send him the link again. Hey, Renee, look, 10% off or 20% off. This is a great deal. I think the books were like $200 and now they were like $180. I said, now is the time. Like, let's buy these books. Maybe we'll buy multiple copies. I need these books. Great deal. $180 for 5 books. They're incredible. Well, a few more days go by, and I'm now thinking, like, where's the stupid books? Like, I'm about to buy this book myself. These 5 books. And then now, I even said it in the live. Okay, a few weeks ago, I was doing a live, Thursday night, 8 p.m., and I said, hey guys, be super clear with your husbands. And then I looked to Renee, he's right in that corner, I said, hey Renee, I want those books. I literally said it in the live. Well, this is where things start to get a little sour. I'm going to be very open with you guys and very vulnerable with you guys. There is nothing I hate most in this world than shaving my legs. Okay? I hate shaving my legs. I think it's a waste of time. I hate doing it. I'm the worst at doing it. You know, I've been particularly happy that there hasn't been sort of going to church, because usually in church, if I preach, I have to wear a skirt or a dress or whatever. Well, guess what? No church means that I could just wear pants or leggings, which is like my uniform, and then, well, see, you wouldn't even know if my legs are hairy right now because you can't see it. And as you can imagine, it drives Renee nuts, okay? So, right, not my best quality. I hate shaving my legs. And so I'll let it go a few weeks. My mom yells at me, Renee yells at me, my friends yells at me. I mean, what are you gonna do? And so look at what happens. I had a friend of mine, I don't know if she's here with us, I had a friend of mine who says, Amanda, I know how much you hate shaving your legs. Try this. And she gave, I don't have it to show you guys, but she gave me a machine. I don't know what it's called, but it's the ones that like pull your legs out of your hair. So instead of shaving it, it pulls it out. So it allows for your hair to not grow so quick. Look, I shaved 2 weeks ago and I'm not even in a bit, my mom says that I should have more vergonha na minha cara because I'm cara de pau. That's Portuguese for saying, Amanda, you should have a little bit more shame and you should be a little bit more embarrassed, because truly, poor Renee, he'll never live this down. Oh, he's not going to, Delphina, at all. And so, look, I shaved like, I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's still looking pretty good because it's so painful. It literally rips out your legs from the root. And so look at what happens. I told Renee 3 times that I wanted this book. I sent him this razor, and I kid you not, as soon as I sent the link, like, Renee is a sloth. That is his spirit animal, okay? I am a monkey. Renee is a sloth. He is so calculated and so incredibly slow. Renee never buys anything just like that. He does research. He looks at reviews. When I want something, I need to give it to him like 3 months prior than when I actually want it. But 1.5 seconds later, Renee sends me a text back. Already bought it. You're welcome. And I said, okay, hold up. Well, he bought that and I was like, oh, thank you so much, right? I'm thinking in my head, what a selfish gift, okay? But whatever, he got me the gift. Thank you so much for my new razor. I hate shaving my legs, but okay, great. Thanks. A few days later, I send him the link again. However, I go to check the link myself, and you know what I find out? The books are sold out. The books are sold out. And then I lose my mind. And then I just let him have it, right? This is not going to get good. He'll never live this down. Guys, the books are sold out. And not only are they sold out, the company is most likely not going to make more copies. Why? Because again, I told you it was so costly to make. It was made in Germany. They just like barely made money on it. The books are sold out. And I lost my mind. And I told Renee, I said, Renee, I asked you 3 times to buy this book. You didn't buy this book. And then you buy me a stupid razor. I don't even like shaving my legs. And then I told him, I said, this was such a selfish gift. And he goes, no, it wasn't. It's to shave your legs. And I said, Renee, Leonardi. And I told him in the morning, I said, I want you to think about this. And I gave him all day because, again, right, his spirit animal is a sloth. So I can't expect Renee to go back and forth with me because I'm like, boom, 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 boom. He doesn't have time to defend himself. And so it wouldn't be a fair fight. And so I said, Renee, I'm going to tell you something, and at night we're going to have a conversation about it. And so I said, listen, when you bought that razor to me, it was a selfish gift. Now think about it for the next, 10 hours. And so sure enough, he comes at night and he goes, I thought about it, and you're right. He goes, the razor was a selfish gift because I want you to shave your legs. I don't know. He wants my legs to be like the butts of River and Reed. I don't know. So I wanted you to shave your legs, and so I bought it. Truly, it was a selfish gift. And so here's the point. Look at this. Number 4. Husbands, you need to be interested in what is important to your wives. Those books were important to me, not the stupid razor. Thank you for buying the razor, Renee, but the books are sold out, okay?
If you have a copy, I'll pay double.
Renee is literally willing to pay any price right now. You can just make us go poor because he is willing to buy these books for whatever it costs. And again, we laugh about it, but truly he almost died. Okay, so that was Renee's story. Husbands,
Becca said he found you a cheaper version on Amazon.
Who?
Becca.
No, there's no way. There's no cheaper version on Amazon. You have to see this book. Delphina has seen this book, Lily, and then guess what happened? Literally this past, I believe, we have the nonprofit and we do night of worship every other week. Well, Lily saw me and the first thing she said to me was this, Amanda, I bought the most beautiful copy. And I said, Lily, don't you dare keep speaking. Delphina was right there. No, I don't want the digital copy, Clever. Get out of here. I do not want the digital copy. I wanted the... I want to write it. I want to write in it. I want to smell it. I want to flip the pages. I don't like technology. I don't like computer. I don't want the digital copy. And so when Lily was saying that, I said, Lily, don't you dare keep going. And she goes, Amanda, it's beautiful. And Delphina was like, I saw it. It was beautiful. And so Renee was like, are you guys selling it? They're like, no, we're not selling it. It's sold out. They're not going to make it again. But anyways, before I get even more upset, let's move on. See, yeah, Delphine, I'm not going to talk about how beautiful they are. Yeah, I know, exactly. Renee is willing to buy it for however much money you want to sell it. And so, again, husbands, there are so many wives. Remember, Renee, you know what I just remembered? Okay, my father, he's super into biking. He loves to ride his bike, okay? He's in a little bike gang. They ride all over. They're zipping around all over South Florida with his bikes. And I think it was like for my mom's birthday. And my dad never buys her presents. He's always just as surprised when she opens her gifts because I usually buy her presents. And so when my mom is opening her gifts, whether it's like birthday or Christmas gift, my dad's like, wow, I love that because it's also the first time he's seeing it. But this one time, he bought her a gift, and you know what it was? He comes home with a bike, and my mom's like, I hate riding bikes. I never will ride this bike. So he bought, see, there you go. He bought her a selfish, he's like, I thought you were going to love this bike. And she's like, no, you didn't. You bought that bike for yourself. Husbands, be interested in what your wife likes. Do not buy selfish gifts. Smell the get out of here, Clever. No way. Renee's going to be praying to see if God can make more copies of this. Alright, let's go to the next one. We're going to go to number 5. We're 4 into this thing, okay? Maybe we'll do a part 2. But number 5. I wish my husband knew to correct me gently. And what do I mean by that? Listen, in front of your kids or in front of other people. Number 1. Don't criticize your wife in front of family, in front of friends, and do not disagree in front of your children. Now look, I'm not saying that you guys aren't going to ever be on opposite pages or maybe a whole even different book. That's fine. But do not demean, belittle, and criticize anyone in front of family, friends, strangers, and definitely not your kids. Don't disagree. If your wife is saying something, if she's spitting out craziness out of her mouth in front of her kids, be there, support her. Later, bring her into the room and say, honey, I didn't really like how you handle this. Do it there. Be gentle. Husbands, wives, I'm telling you, wives and mothers are their biggest critics. No mother thinks that she's doing a good job. I can assure you that right now. Mothers, we always feel like the worst. We feel like we're not patient enough. We feel like, all these other Instagram moms are feeding their kids better. I'm already saving up for my children to do therapy. Like, no mother thinks that they're doing it right. And so, husbands, have a little mercy and be gentle when you're going to correct. Be gentle when you're going to voice an opinion. Allow your wives to fail and then be there gently to help guide, to help teach, to help soften the blow. Does that make sense? So be gentle. Number 5, be forgiving. Of course your wife is going to mess up. She's going to mess up with your kids. She's going to mess up with you. She is going to mess up. She's a human being. She is a sinner. And what would help husbands in this process of correcting her gently and tenderly is demonstrate to her humility by what? Admit your own mistakes. Admit your own failures. Share these failures. Share these mistakes with her so that both of you can be humans with each other. Don't put this huge and impossible pedestal for your wife, and wife, don't do it to your husbands. Meet each other. pray for each other, wrestle with each other, become each other's accountability partner. And when she messes up, which she will, treat her and correct her gently. All right, here's the next one. Number 6. What I wish my husband knew is that family time is different than us time. Boys, hear me well. Your children drive your wife nuts. I have 2 of them, River and Reed. They're really cute on Instagram. Whenever you want to come and take them for a couple of nights, by all means. They drive me crazy. They're sleeping right now, and I'm like, oh, I miss them so much. And then as soon as they're awake, I'm like, oh, man, I can't wait for them to sleep, okay? And so family time is important, but us time is incredibly important. And so I'm always telling Renee, you better plan something just for the 2 of us because I'm going to lose my mind, right? And so husbands, make sure you're planning date night. I don't know, pay someone to stay with your kids. You know, Renee and I are spoiled, okay? We are very spoiled. His parents are awesome. His parents are literally here every weekend. Thank you, Sergio and Marlene. If you are hearing me, praise God for your existence. They'll come here every weekend, and Sundays they'll come here and they'll stay with River and Reed just for a couple of hours, just so that Renee and I can go on a walk, or we could do something together, read a book, sit on a hammock. My parents are also awesome, obviously. You know, they're here all the time. It's so incredibly important that us time happens. If you follow me on Instagram there and the stories, you saw that just last night, Renee and I were literally hiding in the pantry, hiding from River and Reed. 2 grown adults hiding from 2-year-olds. We were hiding in the pantry, and I was hiding in the pantry, and I was eating all of their snacks. Listen, let me tell you something. I have no shame. I only buy River and Reed snacks that I will like. Because in the end of the day, I am the one who eats those snacks. I was hiding in the pantry, eating their snacks. I hide food in the pantry that they don't eat so that I could just sit there and eat it. And so, listen, husbands, your wife needs just you and her time. Plan that trip, pay a little bit of money, go to dinner, go on that vacation, take her to the movie, go on a massage. I don't know. Family time is important. It's great. It's needed. But we need us time, as in your wife and you, just the 2 of you, do something special for her. What I wish my husband knew was that. All right, number 7, we got a few more to go. Number 7, what I wish my husband knew is that his affirmation means the world to me. What do I mean by that? Husbands, let your wife know and her innermost being that she has your approval and your affection. Not by the things that she does or doesn't do, but just simply because she is someone that Jesus died on the cross for. She has intrinsic value, not extrinsic, intrinsic. So she needs to know that you love her unconditionally, that there is nothing that she has done in the past, is doing now, or will be doing in the future that will ever minimize or lessen the love that you have for her. Husbands, brag about your wife to other people. You know how we're really good at talking bad about our spouse to our family? Oh, you can't believe what my husband did. You can't believe what my wife did. And we sort of sometimes talk bad. Maybe it's to family, to friends. Maybe we say, oh, we say it to this person because this person... No. Let's swap it. I want to hear husbands bragging about their wives. Brag about your... There you go, Pedro. Absolutely. Your wife is awesome. Brag about your wives. Don't talk bad about her. Brag about her behind her back. And guess what? If you're lucky, what you just bragged about her will make its way back to her, and she will feel so loved. She will feel so appreciated. Husbands, compliment her often. Compliment her. When you see something that you particularly loved, compliment her. We're so good at criticizing. We're so good at pointing out people's mistakes. We're so good at saying, oh, you didn't do this. You said you're going to do... You didn't follow through. You started, you didn't finish. Compliment your wife. I'm telling you, you will catch more bees with honey than with vinegar. Don't be nasty. Don't be sour. Be creative in how you express your love to your wife. Do the note. Take her out to dinner. Call her. Set up a massage. I don't know. Be creative in how you express your love. How you express your affection. Tell her you're proud of her. Tell her you are proud of her. Tell her that you see her. One of the greatest needs and necessities that we have is I want to be seen. Not like Renee can see my body, okay? He sees me. But I want him to see my soul. I want him to see my pain, my sadness, my joys. I want to be in a room. Have you ever been in a room filled with people and yet you feel so alone? People right now are dying because they are lonely, because they are not connected, because although people can see them with their physical eyeballs, they don't feel like they are seen, that they are known in their innermost being. Husbands, affirm your wives. Show her, demonstrate her with your words, with your actions, that she has your affection, that it's solely hers. Right? We have wives saying, yes, preach it, sister, amen. Take time to sit down with her, to get to know her. Express how much you appreciate her. Man, babe, I don't know how you do it. You are working, you are cleaning the house, you haven't killed our kids, you haven't killed me. You're a superstar. Let me tell you something. I'll share this with Renee, and here's my little vulnerability with him. Let me express it to you in this way. Whenever I go and I preach at churches, after the sermon, people will come and they'll say, Amanda, that was an amazing sermon. Amanda, that was a powerful message. But none of those matter as much as when Renee says, babe, that was awesome. For whatever reason, he has this power. I don't know who's given it to him. I surely don't want him to have all this power. But having his affirmation means the world to me. My mother can say she's proud. My father can say he's proud. My brother and all these people have very high regards in my life. But there is something different. There is something special when Renee says, hey babe, I'm proud of you. Hey babe, that was awesome. You killed it. That was incredible. I don't know how you do it. You're a superstar. There's something, it's different when Renee says it. So husbands, your wife needs to hear it from you. You know, and my husband, he's a very black and white kind of guy. And he feels like he doesn't need to state the obvious. Sometimes it's like, well, of course it was awesome. You know it was good. But there's something special when he goes out of his head and says, man, babe, that was really good. Express how much you appreciate your wife. She needs to hear it from you. I'm telling you, boys, I'm telling you right now, your wife is her biggest critic. She never feels like she's amounting as a wife. She never feels like she's amounting as a mother. She's always comparing herself to everyone else. I'm telling you, you need to fill her up. Fill her up. I say, when you said I do, that's when you gave him that power. The same power that hurts is the power that heals. Amen. Yes, yes, yes. And here it goes. Look, we need to be very careful with this, right? And I need to seek my approval from God. Okay, let's be clear about that. My approval comes from my heavenly Father. I don't want to be meu marido fala, penso isso, G. That's right. You see what I'm saying? Boys, you have to express yourself. I know you're thinking it, but again, the same way that husbands don't read wives' minds, wives don't read the minds of husbands. We're better at mind reading, but you need to verbalize it. You need to say it. You need to express it. Send a text message. Write a note. I don't know, write it on the fridge. Write it on the bathroom mirror. Hey, babe, you looked hot this morning. You're killing the game, girl. 3 kids later, and Lord have mercy, you're looking good. Say it. Verbalize it. If you don't, someone else will. If you don't, someone else will. And now again, right? I will say this. My identity is tied into what Jesus Christ says that I am. My approval needs to come from God alone. And so wives, we can't also be sort of begging to have the approval and the affirmation from our husbands. No. We get it from Jesus Christ alone. I don't want to have my sense of well-being attached to Renee because God forbid something happens to Renee. What, then I just roll over? No. So husbands, it's important that you give that to us. But wives, it's also important that we live for an audience of one, and that is Jesus Christ. Does that make sense? I'll share this with you. I'm not doing too good on time, but I'll share this with you. My Portuguese is awful. Really bad. Like, not good at all. And I always struggled with preaching in Portuguese. And I would much prefer to preach in English, always, often. And everywhere I would go in Brazilian-speaking churches, I would bring a translator. But God had a message for me, and He says, listen, Amanda, you need to start preaching in Portuguese. I don't care if you sound like you're 5 years old, you need to do it. Because in your weakness, I will be your strength. Well, I did my Portuguese sermon there. And after, again, remember, Renee is white, black, and right. He is rational as Renee would never be a politic because you will know exactly where you stand with him. That the boy does not lie. Okay? And so look at what happens. I got into the car and I said, and I was already feeling awful. Like, that sermon was so bad. I never want to preach in Portuguese. And I literally looked to Renee and I said, Renee, how was it? He goes, well, I can tell you this much. That would have been much better in English. He just destroyed me. It was awful. And I was like, I knew it was bad. And so in that moment, I felt, oh man, that was awful. Renee is the only one who had the courage to tell me that it was awful. But in that, I kept preaching in Portuguese. Even though Renee thought it was awful, I thought it was awful. But why? Because what God says matters to me more than what Renee said in that moment. Do you see the difference? I need His affection. I need His approval. I crave it. I want it. But in that moment, he lost to God. And I kept on preaching in Portuguese, even though Renee wanted to do this half the time. I would say the most crazy things. The grammar was awful. It was so bad. But it got better and better and better and better. He'll still tell me that English is better than the Portuguese. But again, it's like he's nodding yes. What a jerk. But again, audience of one. Okay, Bruna? It might hurt them if they say it. At least that's what it seems. Why is it so hard for him to say a compliment? Do you think that's a sign of weakness? Guys, can you answer? Okay, very good. What do you think, Renee? Is it hard? Is it hard for you to say a compliment? Is it a sign of weakness, do you think?
No, just overlook it.
Renee says just overlook it, right? Sometimes things...
One-track mind.
What?
One-track mind.
Oh, that's good. Renee just actually, that was pretty good. So Renee says guys have a one-track mind. So, and it's true. Renee's always told me, don't tell me anything important when I'm driving. Women... we're better multitaskers than men. So men have a one-track mind, so they will overlook things. And so maybe it's not, again, right? Liz says, my husband thinks it, but he doesn't say it. So he's thinking it, and maybe he'll forget to say it. Or he's thinking it, and he thinks, oh, maybe she already knows. Or he's overlooked it. Or he has a one-track mind. Languages of love. Yes, we all have different personalities. We have different preferences. Some have a harder time at verbalizing. Again, look, Renee is a great salesperson online. He's not good at face-to-face sales at all. But he's good online. Why? So he's better when he has time to think about it. So oftentimes when Renee compliments me or tells me, he'll give me a one word like, hey, I'm proud of you. But usually he sends me a message. He writes it out so he has more time to think. So use your strength. I say most of the time, but I suffer the opposite. I want to hear too. So there you go, wives. Here are husbands saying, I'm so happy we have so many husbands here tonight. Husbands need to hear it as well. Find out your spouse's love language and love on that girl, love on that boy. Okay, we have 3 more. I don't know if we're going to make it. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 here because these next 4 are big ones. These next 4 are big ones. What do I do, Renee?
See how much time you have. 6 minutes.
I have 6 minutes. There's no way I'm not going to make it. I am not going to make it. I'll do one more. I'll do one more, and then we're going to do a part 2. Okay? Here's the next one. This is actually my number 10, so I'm going to move it up here so I don't get distracted. I don't lose track. Because I want to make sure we have enough time, and then I'll add more. How about that? I'll add more to the list. So we will have covered 8 tonight. 8. Okay? So quickly... Number 1, I wish my husband knew that I want to be involved with his life, that I want him to ask me for my opinions, for my counsel. I want him to value my insight. Number 2, I want my husband to know that I don't need him to fix my problems. 3, I want my husband to protect me. 4, I want him to be interested in the things that are important to me. 5, I want him to know that when he corrects me, to do it gently and tenderly. 6, I want my husband to know that family time is not the same as us time. 7, I want my husband to know that his affirmation means the world to me. And we're going to stop at number 8. I want my husband to display public affection. Public affection. So now look, again, you need to ask your wife. Not all wives are the same. Most wives have told me, my husband, he can't stay away from me in the room. He's on top of me like a wild animal, seeking me, wanting to hug me, hold me, kiss me. I wish that he would show me affection in public. I wish that he would hold my hand. I wish that he would hug me from behind, that he would kiss me. Common courtesy, boys. Remember when you were dating your wife and you opened the door for her? Keep doing that. That's such a nice thing to do. Open the door for her. When her drinks run out, when you're out.
Funny.
What?
You open the door for me.
You open the door for me, right? So open the door for your wife. Hold her hand. Kiss her in front of her friends. Display public affection. Now, your wife might be saying, for the love of God, do not do that for me. That's why these topics, these things, you have to have a conversation. All wives are different. But most wives, they like public display of affection. And so don't miss out on these courtesies, boys. It's so incredibly important that you display it. Shout it in the rooftop. Show it to the world. We have some pastors joining us here this evening. When you're in that sermon, publicly affirm her. Call her up there. Give her a kiss. It's so important that we see these things. I want Renee to kiss me in front of the boys. I love it. You know what my favorite thing Renee does is? When River and Rita are there, and all three of them will be saying this. And Renee will say, I'm a maya mia. Like, mommy is mine. And then River says, no, mama and mia. No, mommy's mine. And then Reed will jump in. River will jump in. Renee will jump in and say, mine. And Renee will go and hug me and kiss me. And then River will pull me away and he'll hug me and kiss me. It's so important that our children are seeing us display affections. I want my boys to know that Dad is not embarrassed to display affection to mommy. I want my boys to see that. And it's so special when I'm there with a circle of girls, or when I'm there, after I just did a sermon, and I'm there at the end there of the church as people are coming by, and Renee comes from behind and just kisses me and says, hey, I'll be waiting out there for you. Make sure that you are displaying, not just saying I love you, those are important, not just verbalizing, but demonstrate your love. Right? Yes, kisses and loves on your wife. I'm telling you. Look at Renee, he even put a shirt on. Typically he's shirtless. Look, he put a shirt on to come and kiss me. Absolutely. This is what we have to do. Don't be embarrassed. And I know, boys, maybe you didn't get this growing up. Maybe it's difficult for you to demonstrate. Maybe you're embarrassed. Pray and say, Lord, help me publicly demonstrate my love for my... But again, check it out with your wife. Okay, check it out with your wife. See if this is something that she's okay with. See if this is something that she wants. I verbalize this to Renee. Renee, I love it when you do that. I love it when I'm there and our eyes connect, when he's at one corner and I'm at the other corner. Usually, I believe we have tons of people here. Last time we had almost 80 people here at the ranch. It was awesome. And we'll just connect eyes, and Renee will come over and he'll just give me a kiss, and he'll go back to his circle and do what he's doing, and I'm here talking. But then he just comes and gives me a kiss. Ah, so powerful. And then who knows? That night you just might get lucky. But again, don't do it with strings attached. Don't do it with strings attached. You have to do it lovingly and willingly. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get lucky. But it can't be because of that. Okay? Listen, we're going to end it here. Yes, look at the girls are saying PDAs are the best. That's right. Love on your wife. Put that little on Instagram. You're awesome, babe. I'm hacking her phone right now just to say my wife is the greatest, most awesome thing in the world. Shout it on the rooftop. Look, you can't miss next week. You can't miss part 2. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek, but one of them is this. What I want my husband to know is that I am not his prostitute. Oh man, I just ended it like that. Hold your seats. Buckle up. Next week, we're coming in hot. We're starting with that one because women, I hear it every week. Every week a wife will say, my husband thinks I'm a prostitute. Well, we don't want wives feeling that way. So next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Hey guys, Share this if it was helpful to you. I'm going to put it right now on our IGTV. It's going to then be thrown on our YouTube. I loved having you tonight. It was so good. Thank you for participating, for your comments. Yeah, look at Liz saying, what? Oh yeah.
4 seconds.
4 seconds. We're going to get going. I'll see you guys later. I'm really excited. Thank you for joining, for your comments. It was so helpful. This is how it always needs to be. Abundant marriage, a community of people who want abundant marriages. I'll see you next time.
It continued.